Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. I had a little bit of a light bulb moment this morning and also a bit of a duh moment. I suddenly realised that we're going away this weekend. Obviously, I didn't suddenly realise that. I've always known we were going away this weekend to visit family in Oxford. Really looking forward to it. But I did suddenly realise this morning that unless I film a video today, I don't have a video to upload on Monday for everybody. So I realised that at 8 o'clock this morning. Luckily, it wasn't 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I can still have time to actually put a video together for everybody. Now, I don't like first impressions reviews. I've said plenty of times in the past, I like to trial a product out for several days before I come up with an opinion and ways that the product works best on my skin. But I don't have that luxury today because this only arrived in the post yesterday. Today, I am going to be reviewing the brand new Revolution Conceal and Hydrate Foundation and Concealer. Let's not waste any more time. Let's do a little bit of bump on this product and we'll get some on my face. So I absolutely love a brand that listens to their customers. I really didn't like the Conceal and Define foundation. I thought it was really drying on my skin, and at the time that I was actually trialing that foundation out, I didn't have as dry a skin as I actually do now. It emphasized all my dryness, even dryness that wasn't there. It went really cakey throughout the day. My mum really hated it. It looked awful on her skin. So I am so pleased that they've brought out a hydrating version of that foundation and also a concealer to match. Now, I actually liked the Conceal and Define concealer. It was a little bit drying underneath the eye, but it dried down really well, and it tended not to crease very much throughout the day. So I really did like that concealer. We're gonna see if this performs just as well, but in the hydrating version. So I'm really excited to try both of these out. So this is the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate Foundation and Concealer. The foundation is £9 in the UK, $12 in the US, and you get 23 mils worth of product, which is quite a bit less than the standard amount. If you got the standard amount of 30 mils, this product would average out at £11.74 in the UK and $15.65 in the US. So quite a bit more, but still drugstore prices. This comes in 50 different shades. It has a great shade chart on the Revolution website, so if you are confused about which shade you want to pluck for, the Revolution website is where you need to navigate to. This is medium to full coverage. It has a really sheer textured formula. It gives a natural, radiant finish to the skin. It's infused with hyaluronic acid, and it's also got oil in there as well to hydrate the skin. This won't settle into any of your fine lines, or so it says. It's suitable for all skin types, but it's particularly beneficial for anybody with dry skin. This foundation won't sink into any dry patches, or so it says. And it's also cruelty-free. The concealer is £7 in the UK or $10 in the US. Let's get some of this on. Okay, so as per usual, I already have all my skincare on my face and I've given that plenty of time to sink in before I'm applying the foundation. You all know the spiel now. I just feel the need to just reiterate every single time I do a foundation review. Okay, so thoroughly shaken up the product. This might be a little bit dark for me. Yes, possibly a little too dark for me, but we're going to roll with it. This is going on extremely smoothly. It's a really nice consistency. Okay, so this does not have a fragrance, and last time I said that on my channel with regards to the Fenty Beauty foundation, I was completely wrong. My nose completely deceived me. It does have perfume in it, but this one, I have checked the ingredients, it does not have perfume, so this is completely unscented. Actually, it's not too bad a shade match for me. It's not bad at all. This is really pleasant and effortless to blend out. I don't know why I'm surprised. Does seem to be accentuating my pores a little bit, but I'm hoping that that dries down just a little bit to make it look a little bit more natural and less shiny. Well, it definitely is a weightless formula, which it actually doesn't say in all the bump on the website, but I can tell you it definitely is a weightless formula. It doesn't feel like I've got any product on. Let's just pad that over with a blending sponge just to make sure it's all smooth. Really, really pleased with that. Let's move on to the concealer. Got the concealer in exactly the same shade. This has got the biggest doe foot applicator on it for a concealer that I have ever seen. A little bit too big for my liking, but I wouldn't be applying it with a doe foot applicator anyway. Always on the back of my hand, so let's see what we can do with this. Tiniest amount. It does seem slightly paler than the shade of the foundation, so maybe they have made the concealers 2 to 3 shades lighter, so just bear that in mind when you're picking a concealer. This may dry down a little bit darker, so watch this space, but at the moment, it's definitely 2 to 3 shades lighter than the actual foundation. So if you're buying the foundation and want the concealer to be 2 to 3 shades lighter, you're going to need to buy exactly the same shade as you've got in the foundation. I like that. Okay, so everything is completed. It did say in the bump earlier on that this would not settle in fine lines and wrinkles, and I think that is a complete falsehood. I have pounded my fine lines and wrinkles with my blending sponge, and this foundation still wants to find its way into those fine lines, my smile lines, every line underneath my eye the concealer has sat in. It's seriously, seriously creasing. This is going to be one of those foundations and concealers that you will have to set in place. And I have dry skin, so if you have oily skin, this might be even worse for you. It looks pleasant, but it is sat on the surface of the skin at the moment. That might change as it dries down a little bit more. It is looking more flattering the more it dries down. I'm just waiting for it to dry down, and I've got a feeling that this is going to take quite a while to dry down because it has castor oil in the formula. So that's going to keep it quite radiant looking throughout the day. I mean, I like it, but at this moment in time, it's not my favourite. I'm going to go and do the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the finished look for today. This is very, very similar to the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Foundation, but a lighter version. So it's much thinner consistency. It doesn't look as heavy on the skin. This still sits on the surface of the skin, but some of it does look like it's one with the skin. So it's not as mask-like as the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Foundation. I'm still not sure if I'm in love with it. Let me show you this in natural lighting. As you can see, it's still quite shiny on my face, even though I have powdered this down considerably, which again, just like the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Foundation, I wouldn't recommend because this tends to go a little bit cakey when you add powder on top of it. It has accentuated all of my texture. It looks like it started to separate on my chin area. It actually hasn't started to separate. It's just sank into my dry patches, which this says it will not do, and it has done. And adding powder onto the top has really accentuated all those drier areas and any texture that I've got around. This foundation also says that it won't sink into any fine lines or wrinkles, and if you have a look underneath my eye area, I've actually had to remove and pad off with a blending sponge most of the concealer underneath my eyes because it would not stop creasing. As soon as I'd actually managed to smooth it out underneath my eye, I went to get the powder, came back, already creased again. So it is quite difficult to work with. It is a very movable product. If you have those fine lines and wrinkles, this is one that I would not recommend. But again, we will see as the day goes on as I do the wear test. Anyway, all my other products blended seamlessly with this foundation. This may be just a bit of a blip. Like I've said plenty of times before, I actually don't like doing first impression videos for this reason, because I haven't had chance to play around with this foundation to see how it works best on my skin. And maybe tomorrow when I try it, I may get better results. But we are gonna do a wear test on this today. I'm gonna check in with you a couple of times throughout the day and show you how the foundation is getting on. I'll see you all in a bit. Hi everybody, welcome back to the check-in. It's now been just over 7 hours since I first applied the foundation to my face. I forgot what time it was. I really should have been looking at my watch this afternoon, but I have been engrossed in editing all afternoon, so the foundation hasn't really had a workout. I have just been sat in one place editing, and it's just taken a lot longer than I actually thought. Considering this foundation has not had a workout, I'm looking particularly shiny. Let me just take my glasses off just so that you can have a proper look. Obviously it's come off on the bridge of my nose. That is not the foundation's fault, that is my glasses. But especially on my chin, I am looking, well, it's looking like a mirror. You can see your face in that, it is that shiny. My forehead is also looking extremely shiny. I've never really had foundations in the past where I've had to blot my skin throughout the day. Like I've said plenty of times, I have dry skin. I do not have oily skin, so for this to look this shiny and for the Fenty Beauty one that I tried the other day to look this shiny, I think it's possibly going to be the castor oil that is in this foundation that has made me just very, very dewy as the day has gone on. This is the first time that I've actually looked in a mirror and I was like, whoa, that does not look good. It is all still there though. My pores do look accentuated. Obviously, it is a dewy foundation. It's a radiant foundation, so any texture is going to be accentuated. But this is not my favourite. I was really hoping that this was going to grow on me and look nicer throughout the day. After about an hour, it really did warm up to my skin and it was looking absolutely beautiful. But then I sat down and started editing, and this is the first time I've looked at myself since then, and it's not great. It isn't, is it? Oh dear. So I am going to wear this for a little bit longer, see how long this lasts for, because it hasn't broken up or gone cakey. It's just the natural oils that are coming through. So I am quite impressed in that sense. If I was to get a little bit of blotting paper on my skin, I would think that the foundation would still be intact. So it's not like it's broken down or gone cakey, which is a really good plus. We'll see how long it lasts for. See you in a bit. Welcome back to the final check-in. It's now been just over 10 hours since I first applied the foundation to my face. Let me just tell you one thing before I go into my thoughts and feelings about this foundation and show you it in natural lighting. This foundation is by no means a bad foundation. It goes on absolutely beautifully. It blends out absolutely stunningly. It does not oxidize. It's extremely hydrating. If you're after something that's extremely hydrating, this is definitely extremely hydrating. A little bit too much for me, but it is extremely hydrating. And the fact that it doesn't oxidize is a mega, mega plus. All the foundation is also still on my face, so this is definitely not a bad foundation by any means. And I just want to point out that I am extremely hormonal at the moment, so that may play a part in how my skin is reacting at the minute. But all that aside, let me show you this in natural lighting so you can form your own opinions. Now, straight after the first check-in, around about 3 hours ago, I did blot the right side of my face. So the left-hand side has not been blotted, the right-hand side has been blotted. And really freakily, hardly any of the foundation lifted when I blotted the right side of my face. So that is a major, major plus. This is actually quite a long wearing foundation, and for a hydrating foundation, that's really, really decent. The negatives about this foundation is that it does say that it doesn't accentuate dryness. As you can see around my chin and mouth area where I do have a lot of dryness, it has accentuated those dry areas. It's also sank into my smile lines and other lines on my face. Hasn't done this massively because I did remove most of the foundation from around my smile lines anyway, so it couldn't really move because there wasn't very much there to begin with, but it did try and sink into those smile lines. The concealer is definitely a bust for me, but I will keep trying this. I am adamant that I'm going to make this concealer work for me. It is such a beautiful hydrating formula, very similar to the NARS Creamy Concealer formula, so I really want to master it. Maybe I applied too much product today, maybe I didn't set it enough. Not quite sure what's gone wrong, but it definitely hasn't worked for me today. I will update everybody in a pinned comment at the top of the comment section how I get on and how is the best way to apply the product. I'm also going to do that with the foundation. I'm going to be trialing the foundation out over the next few days, maybe not using a hydrating SPF. I'll use a more mattifying SPF. Maybe I won't use as many hydrating ingredients in my skincare, and maybe I'll use a primer underneath it to try and figure out what works best with the foundation because it's so affordable. It's such a beautiful formula. It glides on so easily, it blends out effortlessly, and everything blends beautifully on the surface of it. It just hasn't worked for me today. Does not mean it's not going to work for me in the future. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please do give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget I'm also on Instagram if you want to follow me on there. It's at Pampered Wolf, all lowercase, no spaces. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. There is a watermark in this corner. If you click on it, it will take you through to my homepage where you can subscribe. I upload on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 PM London time. Do not forget to click on that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye.